Welcome back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for your continued support. Now, Kenya is a political nation. Kenyans love politics more than they love food. There are a lot of moshene rumors, flying here and there. And sometimes we are forced to sieve and see which message that is coming on is true. And there are a lot of bloggers. By the way, from where you sit, who is the most honest blogger? Unasema huyu akisema kitu uende pale kwa Twitter au siku hizi inaitwa X. You go there to the X handle, and when that person says something, then you know that there are about 70% that this could be true. Maybe people like Nyakundi, you know all the bloggers. I'm saying this because today the discussion continues around Edwin Sifuna. And this time round, someone is saying that Raila Amolo Odinga intercepted Sifuna's resignation letter after all the drama and altercation when the Luo members of parliament were daring him to go, and he had the support of the lawyer MPs who were saying, you dare kick out Sifuna, we go with him. They say Sifuna had it. Enough was enough, and they said, I'm resigning. So the rumor goes on that Raila intercepted, by the help of some leaders within the ODM. This rumor does not end there. It says that come 2027, none other than the Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja will cross over to ODM and vie for the Nairobi gubernatorial position using the ODM ticket. Let's go straight to this, and you will help me be the judge. I want you to read it for yourself and tell me the percentage of trust and honesty that you give this. Now, this is none other than the controversial Maverick Aoko. And this is what Aoko is saying. Sifuna wrote his resignation letter, said riffraffs like Atande cannot give him ultimatum. His letter was intercepted by Nyong'o and Ososi, who reasoned out with him to talk to Raila first. Raila hugged him and told him not to leave. He told Sifuna, intergenerational conclave garbage iko set, and that Sifuna will lead the youth conversation. Jiandae kukula was what he was told. Best part, ODM will produce deputy president candidate and Nairobi governor candidate for 2027. Sakaja will vie under ODM. I call it rumor because it is something that I cannot prove. But Maverick Aoko is inviting you for a very candid and sober discussion. From what you've read, what percentage can you give this rumor or this information, because it's not verified? What percentage of honesty can you give it? Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are two things that we know. We know that Edwin Sifuna has supported the intergenerational conclave. Whether it is attached to this information that Raila told him, wewe kaa ukule, we don't know, but this is Edwin Sifuna.
So hata sahi kuna conversations ngumu sana zinaendelea hii Kenya. Na mdosi wangu Jacob alisema we need an intergenerational conversation, kwa sababu hakuna mtu ana understand ile kitu nyinyi mnapitia kuwashinda. Mtu mzee ako 90 anataka kukuambia vile wewe mwenye uko 20 unafaa upange maisha yako. Kuna mzee mwingine haiwezekani, si ndio? Mimi sahi kuna mzee nilisikia akisema, we imagine jamaa alizaliwa huko 1960. Amepiga sherehe hii town, amepeleka watoto wake Nairobi National Park, amepeleka mpaka wajukuu wake. Sasa amefika sijui 90, anatuambia hiyo park tufunge tujenge ma building, ma apartment. Kama nani?
And Sifuna is mentioning that it is high time that the youth now speak for themselves rather than leaving it to the old wazirs to determine and tell them how to live. So that is a fact. That is one thing that we know. We also know that Sifuna was pissed off because people like Atandi and all the presidentship team were love on him and they were telling him to resign. We also understand that come 2027, in the event that Raila will not be contesting, Raila must sit down on a negotiating table with William Ruto. If you listen to the opinions of the Luo Nyanza supporters, they are saying if Raila will not be on the ballot, then they must be given something that will compel them to wake up very early in the morning to go and vote for him, to go and vote for that person, if that is William Ruto. And speculations are high that Raila will negotiate for the deputy president position. Of course, you've seen rumors going on that William Ruto will drop Kithure Kindiki. And for obvious reasons, because politics is about numbers. Kithure Kindiki was appointed and was given a bigger role to neutralize Rigathi Gachagua. Instead, Rigathi has swallowed, literally and politically annihilated Kithure Kindiki. So there's a likelihood that Ruto will not proceed with him to the election of 2027. If that is not going to happen, then who takes that position? We know that William Ruto has sent emissaries to Kalonzo Musyoka. But Kalonzo has remained tough and strong. And I think by now, this nonsense of calling Kalonzo Musyoka watermelon must end. Because if watermelon means one who changes positions anyhowly, then the ODM should be the watermelon. I could be wrong. Now, Kalonzo is an option with 2.5 million votes or thereabout, staunch following, because Kalonzo controls the Kamba votes. That you cannot argue with. Number 2 is Raila Amolo Odinga, a fanatic following, the Luo. Remember when he said msiende kwa barabara maandamano? They respected that. But William Ruto had miscalculated, thinking that by taking Raila, he will have the whole of Nyanza and Western, because the sons and daughters of the Mulembe nation have been very loyal to Raila Amolo Odinga. As fate would have it, the sons and daughters of Mulembe are gone, or they are on their way out, because Tawe is shaking that nation. So, Ruto will consider whether Raila will still be the best bet. In the event that he picks Raila, Raila himself cannot work under Ruto as a deputy president. So he will have to choose someone. Already, the political undertones, na ile moshene hapa chini, they say it is either Pio Wandai or Nyawangaya, Gladys Wanga, the governor of Homa Bay. Those two. If you've seen the number of times William Ruto has gone to Homa Bay, the kind of development that William Ruto is launching in Homa Bay. Just the other day, it was Madaraka that was celebrated in the Raila Odinga Stadium. Then in the next few days, there is going to be a devolution conference in Homa Bay. So people suspect that maybe Nyawangaya could be picked. Why she? Because she's a neutral candidate. Pale, ukiacha sasa watu waanze kung'ang'ania Mbadi atataka, Opiyo atataka. There are very many people who want to be close to that power. So we know that ODM, for Raila Amolo Odinga to convince his people to support William Ruto come 2027, they want that seat. Mudavadi is there. I understand that he is satisfied with the cabinet, prime cabinet position, waiting for William Ruto to do his 2 term, then he stands for presidency. Hata amini, because after 2027, the millennials, the Babus, the Sifunas, the Ndindi Nyoros will not give them a chance. So ladies and gentlemen, that is one thing that we know. What any other thing do we know? We know that Raila has either directly or indirectly supported Sakaja. And there are certain moves that they've made. The most probable ODM candidate, Tim Wanyonyi, who's the brother to Moses Wetangula, the Speaker of the National Assembly, has been sent to go to Bungoma. And he announced it just the other day. Already that has caused jitters because the man who was poised to be the automatic governor was Didmas Baraza. Then before he knew it, Tim Wanyonyi announced his presence, and Tim Wanyonyi is moneyed. He's well oiled. His campaign is going to be full of money. So far, that is what we know. And I think Maverick Aoko is basing, if this is, intel, then it is an intel that we already have some links to. So even if it's rumors, it is rumors that is full of some truth in it. The only thing that we cannot confirm is, was this her opinion or someone gave her the correct information that was happening within the ODM? But let's have it. What will be the effect if Sakaja cruises over to ODM? More burden. I almost said more garbage, but that sounds strong. The burden or the sins of this government is going to be dumped in ODM. Raila is carrying the blood of Gen Zs, carrying corruption and secret deals like Adani, sanitizing them, and is carrying all of it in his basket in exchange for some cabinet positions and what he calls development. Yet he himself had declared that you don't need to beg for development because you are a taxpayer. So the effect on in Raila Odinga is that he's going to carry all that burden. The gap between himself and Kenyans is going to widen because Kenyans now see him kama msaliti. His legacy that he has built for over the years will be tarnished. That will be the effect. And then Raila might face humiliation. How? People are tired of Sakaja. That is the truth. Nairobians are saying this guy is a shadow of his former self when he was a super senator. He was saying, Nai itawak. But when you look at the way things, I don't know whether the cartels have overwhelmed him. So Raila might suffer biggest blow when an ODM governor will be defeated, and then ODM, presenting a deputy president together with William Ruto will be sent home. So you can imagine that kind of humiliation. The president plus the deputy is sent home. They also lose the Nairobi seat. And where will that leave them? Because I believe Raila has his final voice in 2027. That is when he makes the final position. Because after that, like I said, he will not be able to speak for the Luo nation. Time has come and we have to accept he has done enough. I always say that whenever I criticize Raila. By the way, I don't like what ODM is doing. I don't like this relationship between Ruto and Raila. Why? It never solved our problems. We were told it was stop kidnappings and killings. It has never stopped. By the way, that is the only problem I have with Raila. That's the problem I have with ODM joining this kind of marriage. Because those who went there to help stabilize the government are more government than the government itself. Kina Junet wanakuambia jaribu kuongelesha president vibaya. And then I also don't like the fact that Ruto has bewitched ODM. You ask them, why are you supporting William Ruto? They will not tell you a reason. They will tell you, najua Gachagua alikuwa anataka kutufanyia nini. So that is why I criticize. But whenever I criticize Raila, I take utmost cognizant of the fact that Raila has done a lot to this country. You can't argue with that. That is why people say the legacy is being destroyed, which means there is a legacy. I mean, even if you destroy Raila's legacy, you can't take it away from him that he fought for devolution together with others. He fought for the new constitution. One would ask, why do you fight for a new constitution and at the same time an ODM member sponsors a bill that wants to control freedom of picketing? Corruption is the order of the day. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's why I criticize. But Raila will suffer this blow. He will be humiliated. It is like a person who has been in the field of athletics. Amekuwa akishinda watu, anashinda watu. Then his final competition, when people tell him, sasa wacha, retire, he insists na anashindwa kabisa, he comes last. Let me repeat what I've always said, that a good dancer knows when to exit the stage. So far, those are the facts that we have. As to whether Maverick has got some intel, we don't know. But what do you think about this information? Do you think Sifuna had written and presented and tendered a resignation letter? And do you think Sakaja will switch camp from the UDA to ODM? Kindly share with me in the comment section.